anybody even up, because you never know. Let me make sure my. Oh, you know what? I'm on the wrong Wi-Fi. Do it matter that I'm on my 2G
No,
versus my 5G?
I mean the 5G would be a lot better, but
Okay, yeah. I don't know why it put me on my 2G. Oh, okay.
you got
Yeah. Somebody. All right. Already trying to get this. Hey Amber, yes, it is a Q&A. I had to switch my internet. It wasn't connecting for me. So hopefully, am I on here? Let me make sure that I'm live and that is working. Yeah, Blessed Tribe. Um, Met a young brother and he reached out to me and he has a nice setup, nice skill set. And that's what I try to tell y'all. You got to live right. You have got to live right. When I tell y'all, I, I started living my life right, cleaning up to where God hear your prayers. A lot of times we don't believe that, but God hear your prayers. And I don't know if I told y'all this, but I tragically lost my videographer last year. December 27th, I believe, is the date that he lost his life in a car accident. And I didn't use him for YouTube videos, but we did a lot of the courses on Tony Gaskins Academy, and just his spirit and his gift. Well, I was meeting different people and they just didn't have what he had. Just a hunger and not being greedy. And then I got a message from a young man and he said, "Hey, I'll come and show you how to do the podcast stuff." So now don't y'all get too used to this right away, because I ain't gonna be on here like this all the time. We just testing it out until we could get something set up. But he came and set it up, showing me this how it works. Now, a lot of people, they know how to do all this stuff themselves. I do not care to do it myself. You leave it up to me. I'm on my cell phone or I'm just on my desktop. I don't care to do this myself. I'd rather pay somebody to do it so that they could get blessed to operate in their gifting while I could focus and operate in my gifting, and both of us be taken care of by the Lord. Now we got dinner coming, Uber Eats, so I ain't gonna be on here too long. So if you have some questions, you can pop up, put you some questions on here. Dominique, welcome. Now I still have not, and I may not get to do it, but somebody was telling me, they wanted me to do a recap of the interview that I did. And I did the interview. I have not watched the interview, so I really don't have a full recap. I have not watched the interview, and I typically don't watch my interviews back. And I seen that another young brother, I believe his name is Shoemake Way. I could be saying that the wrong way, but he did a reaction, and he, from what I could hear him saying, he understood what I was saying, and he agreed with my points that I was making. And he had a few minions in his comments that was saying crazy stuff, but you know how the World Wide Web is, and they were saying it just really was it was mind-boggling to me. Just like one of the guys, I think it was a man, said nobody made who Tony calling himself an expert or a guru. And y'all know that's my key thing is that I never use those terms. He was like Tony discrediting these other people, but then calling himself an expert or a guru. I've never once called myself an expert or a guru. And then people were saying that I talked to the man in an unchristian like way. And I'm like, how does a Christian talk? I did not yell. I did not curse. And I told him to take the bass out of his voice because he was raising his voice and what it sounded like to me. And so, and then he said that he wasn't raising his voice. That's how he talk on his videos. And I was just letting him know, well, I'm not one of your videos. You talking to a man. So don't get a aggressive tone with me. And people talking about I was talking to him unchristian like. And I'm like, I ain't say nothing to him. So that was the thing. I just um thank you, Miss Marriott. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It's like people who people gonna be committed to misunderstanding if they want to, but I say I can't. And my thing is it's not about discrediting anybody. It's just I believe that we speak from where we are. And that even myself, I tell people all the time, I don't know what test is going to come at 20 years of marriage, but I could tell you what test I've faced in 16 years. And I'm wise enough and humble enough to know that I don't know what 25 years is going to do. That's when my parents went through their divorce at 25 years or so. They had known each other 25 years. And I see people at 30 and 35 years go through a divorce. A lot of empty nesters go through a divorce after they've been functioning. So it's going to be tests and spiritual warfare. But my thing is about framing the conversation and saying what you need to say, speaking from your perspective, but letting it be known what your perspective is. And that's it. And me, I didn't even have to entertain the conversation, but I did because had I not, I did because I welcome it. I welcome having conversations across the aisle from different viewpoints and different opinions because I know mine, I know what I stand on, and I know it's going to stand the test of time. And so I was not worried or afraid at all. And one person was like, oh, Tony was scared or something, how he was moving. That was me dealing with the spirit. That was me moving and staying in the spirit so that I didn't get out of character and really go off. But me and the gentleman supposed to have a call tomorrow and just talk, man to man, no cameras or none of that, and just have a conversation. And I welcome talking to anybody. It's just I know what I stand on and what I believe. I'm 30 years old and have been single for 10 years. I'm starting to think that I won't get married or have kids. Can you give me any advice for when I have those thoughts? Well, you 30. You're still a baby. And one thing that I tell people all the time is that if you are with somebody 10 years could feel like a lifetime. So you don't have to, what you have to be focused on when you're single is you got to be focused on your three B's: brains, brand, body. Brains, brand, body. Because when you work on those areas, we just did the Growth Club call, and we did it on the same setup, but on a private link for the Growth Club. And that's the monthly setup that we have, the group coaching. And somebody said, Tony, I've been working on my 3 Bs, and I have been attracting men been approaching her. And she said they asked for her number, but then not calling. So once again, with that, it's another step. Now it's another hurdle. So understand that spirits attract, spirits repel. So it'll be impossible to work on yourself and not see some type of results. It'll be impossible. So just keep working on yourself in this season. And a lot of times that is about, you are in protective custody is what I call it. And sometimes when you don't meet somebody and they're not approaching you, you need to ask yourself, should I be writing my book in this season? Should I be starting my nonprofit organization? Should I be losing weight? Should I be gaining weight? Should I be transitioning jobs, moving cities? Like, what should I do in my single season that needs to get done, that I can create, give it legs, and let it stand on its own 2 legs? Because when you get into a relationship, things change drastically, because you now have to answer to somebody, because you got to be on the same page. You got to be on one accord. And that's sometimes what we don't realize. I was working during that exchange, having done all, stand, and you did. It terrifies people to witness an unmoving Christian, fearless, and no skeletons. And that's one of the things I seen a lady say, "Oh, all his skeletons finna come out," and it's like, I don't have any skeletons other than what I done brought out. When I came into this, I brought my skeletons out, because you can't see a change in somebody if you don't know what they come from. And they were using my story against me. Like, the stuff that I've taught, the stuff that I told about myself, which is my testimony, they were using that to try to discredit me, to say, oh, Tony isn't qualified to speak on this because of who he has been. But you wouldn't know who I've been unless I told you. So I just say, you know what? I'm not worrying about that. We finna just go forward with the work, and the work gonna get done, and the work gonna be seen. The revolution will be televised. We will be doing the work of the Lord, and it will be unapologetic. It will be live and direct. It will be real, raw, and righteous. And you're gonna see that what the Lord is doing, it ain't gonna be able to be ran from. And we're gonna have to draw a line in the sand, and you're gonna have to pick your battles. But in picking them battles, you're gonna have to choose a side. And so I know what side I'm on. Tony, I'm in a situation right now. At times I feel like giving up, and that I can no longer be strong anymore. I don't want a pity party, but I feel like my prayers aren't being answered. Deja, in that, like somebody just said, having done all, stand. That right there, you got to make sure first that you really doing all you can do. Do all that you can do, and even then stand there for even the more. So first, make sure you doing all that you can do, because when you do all that you can do, you will not be forsaken. It may be a season, but you got to remember that God won't put more on you than you can bear. And you also have to remember that even Job, who was God's most faithful in that time, was tested. And what happened to him was worse than what happened to criminals and crooks. But he went through, and on the other side, he received double for his trouble. And you have to understand. So what I started to do is I started to shift. I started to shift to where when the more issues I have, like the more problems, the more drama, the more tight times that I have, I started to appreciate it and relish in it and just remind myself that a breakthrough is on the way. A breakthrough is on the way because I am living by the principles, and God is not a man that he should lie. So it's impossible for me to live by the principles of God and not receive the promises of God. And that's what you have to realize. And so once you get to that point, you got to stick with it. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. If y'all put the hashtag Q in front of your question, I'll see it. I'm 30, but people say I look 22. I'm wondering why I attract white men, not so much black men. I work in tech, play soccer 4 times a week, coach soccer versus online dating seems tempting. Live in wealthy area. Well, 30, but look 22. That's a good problem to have. And attracting white men, you could either look like what those white men think a black woman, like the picturesque black woman, or it could be your build. And it also is becoming more of a trend and a fad. One thing about men is men like notches in the belt, men like experiences. So sometimes you're going to have a white man season where they want to taste the rainbow. I wouldn't get too caught up in it. I wouldn't be sleeping around or giving your body away because it may not all be real. Some you may meet somebody of another race that is authentic, is organic, and is for the right reasons. But when you're dealing with men, men are all the same and different at the same time. So the same way a black man wants an experience, and that's why you see some black men date all different races, but marry a black woman, the same way some white men want to see if blacker the berry, sweeter the juice is a real thing. And so don't get caught up in it. Men are visual creatures, and you living in a certain area, you living in a wealthy area. If it's not a lot of people who look like you, then you will attract different people from different walks of life. So understand that. And you might have to do a feedback type session. Wow. Andrea was moved to tears. I did not know that. Yeah, they tried me. Hi, Tony. I have a white male stakeholder. He's a SVP. We were in a leadership meeting and his direct report complimented my work. He quickly changed the subject and looked annoyed. Any advice? White male stakeholder. Maybe that's a senior vice president. We were in a leadership meeting and his direct report complimented my work. He quickly changed the subject and looked annoyed. Any advice? So that's corporate, sis. I really don't. It sounds like you saying he had a report that he had to read, and on that report, the report was praising you, and he looked annoyed and changed the subject. It is no advice. I would say be proud of that moment, smile in that moment, and keep showing up and showing out, because what the good book say that God will prepare a table before your enemies. So sometimes your name gonna be spoken in the room without your permission, without you having to do anything extra, and you gotta appreciate that. and keep your foot on the gas, because when you are gifted and when you call and you good at what you do and you working in that way, you working as unto the Lord, you're gonna be recognized, and people, nothing anybody tries to do will be able to stop you. So I wouldn't even worry. That'll give me a little chuckle there. I give me a little chuckle off of that. Why does it seem like men have a problem with actively listening? My husband and I are separated because he does not listen, which has been detrimental to the marriage. Wow. Y'all got separated because he don't listen? Key, you might need to write in a little more about that, because I'm hoping I don't go home to a separated wife, because I struggle listening too. But I would use my own experience of why I struggle listening. For me, it's because I am a provider for my household, but I'm also a servant of God to the rest of the world. So sometimes my mind is wrapped up so much into the complexities of spiritual warfare that my wife, me being on the front line and being a shield for her from the ways of the world, her daily concerns are far different than mine. And so she may want to talk about just, just normal little things, but I have to remind myself, okay, Tony, you got to cut off. You got to drop everybody else's problems and work and thoughts about bills and earning, and actively listen. Like, put your phone down, look your wife in the eyes. But the thing about it is for men, we're not as excited about just those things. More so, a man is challenged and thinking about, how can I do more in life, in my purpose, in my work? How can I earn more? How can I provide better? How can I grow, get out of my shell? How can I conquer? And the reason why men don't oftentimes actively listen is because that department of getting a woman, will compartmentalize and tell ourselves we've already accomplished that. Now we need to put all of our interest and focus into accomplishing those worldly things. And it has to be explained, and a man has to understand. He really has to be talked to in a way that you get his attention, and then you talk to him directly and explain the need that you have of him listening, and why you need him to listen, and what it does for your mind, what it does for your heart, and what it does for the relationship. But that is something that I have found countless men, including myself, struggle with. And I've heard that in my marriage over and over throughout the years. You don't listen. And sometimes I will deflect and say, well, yeah, I'm thinking about how I'm gonna pay these bills. But then I had to realize, as a man, I can't make excuses for myself. Even if a bill can't get paid, if my wife know I gotta pay bills. So if she wanna talk, that means she want bills to be put on hold, and she want me to focus on what we talking about right now. So what you have to realize is, we love differently. We show love differently. And that has to be explained, that has to be understood, and we have to have those conversations. So think about that. Um, Trying to get through my college degree, and your videos give me hope. Hey, keep going. I think I'm gonna go back and get my degree, Lord willing. I might have to start a GoFundMe. I think I'm gonna go back and get my degree. Thanks. I wanted to ask if a program or assembly about good touch versus bad touch, abstinence, treasuring your body, etc., is a good idea to try to talk to kids in school about, and how should I start? Well, I feel like we used to have those talks in school back in the day, but that is something that is up to the parent, and to each parent is different. Like each parent's gonna have different opinions about that, different thoughts on that, but you can do that as a community. And you could even do it on a video on YouTube, and you can send that out to all your contacts to say, hey, if your child is at this age and they need to have an explanation about this, you could also write a script for it, go on Fiverr and have a voiceover made, and then also on Fiverr have a 2D or 3D cartoon made, like where it's just animated and not you trying to talk about it. And you can put that on a YouTube video and just let the algorithm do what it does. As far as you as a person, what I would recommend, if you really feel passionate about it and you want to do it, then I would create a flyer and I would go into the city where you want to do it at and find a community center or like a YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, or a library and see what rooms they have available for free or for rent, and book that room like 2 months out or a month out at the earliest, and then go pass out those flyers and get people to come out and offer like pizza and drinks. But that's something that is kind of one of them things to where you almost got to educate parents to educate their kids. Thank you, Tony, for all you do. Your recent videos have been much needed. Keep doing God's work. Hey, thank you very much. We're going to be talking about this Jezebel spirit in my explanation and understanding. Everybody may explain it differently. So, but in my explanation and understanding and how I'm kind of coining it and phrasing it in my way, we're going to be talking about that. And so y'all stay tuned because I'm seeing it grow. I'm seeing it grow. There was a breakthrough in the minds of those men. They know everyone has a price. And in 30 plus years of life, it was the first time they saw someone whose only price, Jesus, he confronted them. I believe that. I believe that. I can't remember what we were talking about. Director at my soccer job asked me yesterday about my hair and how often I wash it. Isn't that inappropriate? Then I was leaving. He said, I may have more random questions for you like this. What? He's African, flirting. Yeah, he probably flirting. He probably flirting. And men just ask crazy stuff. Men ask crazy stuff. I wouldn't take it too seriously. AT, I really enjoyed the latest Heartland initiated video. I'm a single mom of two and find it difficult to balance everything: kids, activity, job, business, home, social, church. How do you balance? Well, it's an unfair question for me because, I'm married. So I can't imagine being a single mom, because when I leave town for a couple of days, my wife, she gets it done, but she can call her mom. Her mom has to help her, or another mom from school helps her. It's like have to have a village. And then when I'm home, we're able to pull it off and make things happen. But even then, sometimes we still have to call her mom or somebody. And so that's another thing. Hey, Dad, it say she out there, so she probably about to bring it in. And so that right there says you're gonna have to be very intentional with your daily calendar, your daily schedule. Be intentional in planning your tomorrow today and writing that down and really being focused and locked in on that. Mahalia. Hey, God bless you. Mahalia, I think it is. Oros. Madam. And back to Shan, what I'll tell you is God don't make mistakes in them 24 hours. So God knew that some women would lose their husband to war, to a hunting accident. Divorce wasn't really a part of the plan. God knew it would happen and that it was happening, but it was more so giving a woman the wherewithal and the things she need in case she lost a man for other reasons. But then even in that, it still was intended for the brother to go and marry her back in the Bible days, or the next of kin to marry her. So that in itself shows me that we're not really intended to have to do it alone. So anybody that's doing it alone, I commend you for that work and that effort you putting in. And that is even more reason to be very, very intentional. Be very intentional with your scheduling and planning your tomorrow today. And if you break it down by the half hour, you're gonna find that God don't make mistakes. But hey, I got to go. We ordered some food. We haven't ate. And I got my guest here who is working the cameras and he hasn't ate. So I need to make sure he get fed. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to come back on, but we definitely want to try this out. Now don't y'all get used to this now till we get something set up. Hi Tony, I feel my optimism / strong faith gets me in disappointment. I see people potential before they see it themselves, like they're in a state of pessimism. How do I set boundaries for this trait? Well, you got to use the word. You got to use the word. The Bible tells us not to be so quick to be insurance for a man, just meaning that, and the Bible tells us we'll know the tree by the fruit it bears. So you got to use the word, and that word will tell you to take your time, and you should put your faith in God, not in people. It's not about seeing people potential. It's about knowing the power of God. And if a person is willing to tap into the power of God, then you know God can work. The debt demolisher, God bless you. God bless you. Sister be blessing me there. Sister be blessing me. Thank you. Hey, y'all keep me going. When I got off of that live and they was on there and I was on there and I had them spent, a lot of money getting me and my team up there. We drove up there and I'm taking care of our living quarters and food and all of that. And they was on there and they was raising money and they was like, hey, donate this money for the questions. And, I don't set up business deals on that stuff like, hey, pay me this, pay me that. But when I got off the live, I had Cash App and I was like, wow, somebody thought about me on this here Cash App and sent me a blessing. So I just want to say thank you because, I did not mention that or bring that up, but y'all looked out for me and I really appreciate that. And it was for me saying, keep going. Yeah, LaShonda, I got the mic tonight now. I ain't gonna have the mic all the time until I get my guy full time or till I get my mic and stuff set up, but I don't know how to do this type of stuff. So it's the young brother that's doing this for me. Michaela, if you ask 3 questions in a Blessed Tribe meeting for $1.99 a month, that means you need a one-on-one session. So you out there teaching that soccer is expensive. So you might need your one-on-one session, sister, because this is the 3rd or 4th time I've seen you on here now. So hopefully your husband watching since you 30 and need men, think you 22. But you might need your one-on-one session. Now I open my sessions only to the end of the year. So you can see on mymentor.life and then you click hire a coach. You'll see me on there. MKW, I knew you were going to get her. Yeah, Michaela got all the questions. Yes, let's go need a session. How important do you think it is to have social media nowadays? I don't have Insta, Facebook, Snap, only have LinkedIn and Reddit. Do we really need it? Will it help with finding a man? It'll help with a man finding you. You definitely should have social media just to know what's going on in the world, if anything. But then also when you go out to eat on the weekend, you could post your outfit of the day, post it as a reel. You could update your story. You could follow different people, comment in the post. If you have healthy comments to where you just like, amen, or this is amazing, people gonna see you. They're gonna see you. They're gonna like your comment. They can see the little ring around your picture because you posted in your story. They're gonna check your story, all of those type of things. So you definitely should have social media. You definitely should have social media. But hey, I got to go. God bless y'all. I'm gonna pop back on here when I get an opportunity. Typically, as y'all know, I'm doing this on the phone. This is new high tech, next level, what everybody else be doing, but I don't have this capability. So shout out to my guy Gil. He came in and set this up and made this work for me. He's showing me how it works. So I got to make an investment into some of these cameras and mics and things of that nature. And then once I figure this out and get it set up with my camera and could make it happen, now I ain't gonna be switching angles and all that when I'm doing it myself, but we'll at least have us a nice little clear feed on here. But this is Gil reached out to me. He said, man, seen you over here on this interview and they had 4K, and then went to your page and seen that your video was grainy and you using a cell phone. He said, I need to reach out to this brother and share my gift with him. So he is a good married man of God, faithful to his wife, and doing the right thing. And this was a prayer that I had. That is proof that God answered your prayers. That when you are in line, you align and you trying everything you can, the best you can to be right, to do right, to stay positive, to keep going, your prayers eventually will get answered if it is God's will. My dad told me, he said, like the scripture, you ask, but you ask amiss, which meaning you asking, but you asking for things that's not in God's will. And you want your will to be done, or you asking for the wrong reasons or for the wrong things, but what's in the will, it is going to be done. And I'm gonna tell you how it worked. I'm gonna tell you how it worked. It just you will see the dots get connected in your life. And we just talked about this in the growth group of cleaning up your life in the dark, getting things together in the dark, looking at your vices, eliminating those vices, and getting locked in and focused in what you're supposed to be doing, and you're gonna see a change. And well, Melanie, if you send money to me, you sending money to Gil, because I'm gonna have to pay Gil. So I'm trying to afford Gil right now. So we at negotiating table and see what it's gonna take for me to afford Gil, because Gil got a full-time job. So, can't have somebody working and then can't replace that job. So we working on it. Can we get a live with you and your dad? Yeah, we could get a live, and we could have did that tonight had we thought about it, because my dad here tonight too. And so, but me and my dad, we thinking about, I'm not gonna make a promise, but we thinking about, just because I done learned my lesson on that, but we thinking about having us a little Bible study channel that you could watch, and tap in with the Bible study. But my dad, he gonna be stepping from behind the curtain soon, when he gets ready. But it's a lot out here, and so I have to let him know, you got to be prepared, because I don't know how thick his skin is, and if it's thick as he think it is, but it is some people out here that be saying some stuff. And I'm telling you, the other night I could have lost sleep after the shoemate way. The shoemate, I think it's the shoemate way. He did his video response, and seeing, I don't want to use the wrong term, because I just reading the other day, you ain't supposed to call people idiot. I was reading that in the Bible, maybe the book of Matthew, or maybe it was in Mark. And me and my dad was breaking that down, and I was like, Lord, I'm like, have I been in sin calling people an idiot? And so, but when I seen some of them comments, I almost could have lost some sleep, but the Lord gave me peace to say, he reminded me how they talked about his son. It reminded me the signs and wonders his son did, and people still didn't even believe. And he say, now who are you compared to my son? Your walk ain't gonna be as perfect. Your walk ain't the same. You ain't got to get on nobody's cross and die. So if somebody who came for salvation, somebody who came to save the world was crucified and was talked about like a dog and gave all the signs and wonders and people couldn't see and called him a devil and called him a devil worshiper and all of that, the Lord say that's how these women and these men think that you fake. That's how they gonna call you a fake and a fraud. And that's how they gonna say you cheating on your wife and you gonna get exposed soon. He say, because those are the same people from the lineage of those who did not believe in Christ. Those the same people who didn't believe that God is real. The same type of people who could see God showing up and doing work and still not believe. So what the Lord say, he say, pray for them. He say, pray for them that I have mercy on their soul. And so I'd say, you know what? I ain't gonna worry about it because I know how I live my life behind closed doors. I know ain't nobody got nothing to come out with on me talking about Tony Gaskin sleeping with me. Tony Gaskin doing this with me. I know my truth, so I ain't got nothing to fear. And everything is in my past. I done already put that in a book. I done already talked about that. I came out with that. So, and I've been married since 21. And even when I talk about me and my wife learning each other and growing in them first 2 years, being young, I told my whole story. So the devil ain't got nothing on me. It's like Eminem on that movie on 8 Mile when he was freestyling and he said everything the man was gonna say. So when the man got the mic, he ain't had nothing to rap about because Eminem hadn't said everything. I done already said everything that could be said. So when they tell me something about myself, they telling me what I told them. And the craziest thing, and I'm gonna tell you this before I go, the craziest thing what I saw is people in the comments on the Shoe Make Weight video. Uh, People in the comments claim to not like me and claim to not agree with me, but they knew the intricacies of my story. They was putting in the comments details from my story that you have to go deep into my videos or books to know my story. So the devil reads scripture. That's how when he approached Jesus, he quoted the word of God to Jesus. God will prepare a table before your enemies, and they're going to have to watch you eat. They're going to have to watch you win. And while they waiting and they sitting and they waiting on you to fail, they waiting on something to come out, they missing their blessings. They missing their purpose because what they trying to do is tear somebody else down because the word of God is convicting their spirit. So listen to me when I tell you, this going to happen to everybody in the body, not just me. And it's going to happen to you on your job, in your family, in your relationship, maybe in your circle. If you get online, it's going to happen online, but you got to know who called you, know whose you are, and know that in due time we win. So, hey, dear Tony Gaskin, God bless you. Thank you, Bianca. Bible study would be great. We need that, TG. Hey, God bless you. Yeah, I ain't gonna lose no sleep. They had me. I say, you know what? I'm finna make the devil more mad because these messages finna be coming. These messages finna be, you hear me? Bite to bite. Y'all might see me someday 4 videos in a day stepping on the devil head. We finna get the word out. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. And see, I ain't get to read the comments because I was on the show. Say the way those comments were on the Hardly Initiated podcast were a mess. I'm so glad you called everybody out. I ain't get to read the comments, but and I'm glad I didn't, because if I did, they might have took me out that spirit. But hey, God bless y'all, and we'll talk soon. And if you on the Academy, TonyGasAcademy.com, you'll see what's on there for you. And you got an email about my sessions. I also posted on the community page because I'm closing my sessions. I'm, Lord willing, could be able to retire from coaching in 2024, and my coaching will be on YouTube. And if I do the Growth Club, the group coaching, and then one-on-ones, that'll be very, very rare and selective. And so that's why I'm opening up for the rest of this year to help people prepare for 2024. You'll see that on the community page. God bless you. We'll talk soon.